This episode of the Gold Blooded Podcast is brought to you by mybookie.ag, mybookie.ag. Use promo code GOLDBLOOD, one word, to match up to 100% of your initial deposit.
3rd and 3. We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. It's a madhouse at Candlestick.
Think we're done? We're just getting started.
Young almost falls down, throws to the end zone.
It will change, and I'm not trying to tell you something. It's going to change. It's not like that, okay? But I want you to understand where I'm coming from. It will change, and it will change because they wanted to change, not because of me. It will change because they want to be champions.
Smith in a gun with Gore on his left hip. 3rd down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking, got it, post, and it's good! Touchdown, 40. Vernon Davis with the play of his life. It all comes to this 4th down. 4th and 4 at the San Francisco 10. Ryan in a shotgun. Rodgers to his left. 3 receivers right. Ryan takes the snap. Looking, pressure, throws middle, broken up by Navarro Bowman, and the 49ers silence the house.
Well, here we are, Final Judgment, Church of Holy Terror. A lot of things that could be said right now, cunts. A lot of things. Here we are again. Another week, another loss by 3 points. Steve, injuries.
Joshua Garnett, dislocated toe. He did dress this week.
He'll never play again.
Oh, he didn't. He was inactive again.
Yeah, inactive.
Wait, he was inactive?
Yeah, he was inactive.
100%.
I forgot to delete it.
Yeah.
All right. Richard Sherman, Joe Staley, Weston Richburg, Mike Person, Jimmy Ward, Reuben Foster, Garrett Selleck, George Kittle, Marquise Goodwin, Matt Breida, all played this week, all dealing with their own injuries from previous weeks. Dante Pettis did not play this week, still dealing with the knee injury from a few weeks ago. Trent Taylor is obviously suffering from back injuries this season. He had back surgery in the offseason, and I think that is why he has had such a down year so far.
He could never come back from that. Backs are sketchy, you know that.
Jimmy Ward left the game with a hamstring injury and did not return. I believe that was in the fourth, deep into the fourth quarter, I think. But I mean, this guy's just Mr. Hamstring. He can't even make it a fucking game. I mean, we think Reuben Foster's soft. We've been dealing with Jimmy Ward for 5 years now. Kawan Williams, shoulder injury and a hamstring. He left the game and did not return.
Just the shoulder.
Just the shoulder?
Yeah,
oh, okay. And
I was short on time this week.
What are you doing back there? You fucking packing groceries? Take it easy.
we signed.
Was I wrong?
No, that was really loud.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to listen. I can't fucking wait. Doesn't sound like Stop and Shop, aisle 3.
We signed quarterback Tom Savage.
Get the fuck out of here.
We waived tight end Cole Wick. And we released offensive lineman Zach Golditch from the practice squad, who none of us knew who he was anyway.
I'd rather have Cole Wick play quarterback than Tom Savage.
That's not a bad move.
Yeah, it really isn't. But that is the rundown. Yeah. So, nothing really major this week, except for, I mean, Jimmy Ward with
injuries.
Yeah, as far as injuries go. No, the game was pretty major. Jimmy Ward with a hamstring injury.
The major thing with the injuries this week is how many people played, considering how rough they were. Like Breida playing, I mean, he's a warrior, obviously.
Yeah, he was game time decision
guy.
You ever see his without a helmet on?
No.
You ever see his face? I gotta show you. He looked kind of like
I see it through the helmet. But.
He's a cute little mouse.
And even Staley, for them to get it together and get out there and
no, it definitely speaks to the character that we have on this football team, which is, I think, regardless of what you think of the talent on this team, the camaraderie is an obvious upgrade over what we had in the Tom Sula year and the Chip Kelly year. No, it's not.
I mean, I don't even care about that shit.
Okay.
I care about wins and losses.
He's kind of cute.
He's a cute little mouse, yeah. I care about wins and losses, and right now.
Go ahead, Steve. Take the bait. Go ahead, take the bait.
No, here we go. Now I'm going to hear how it's a process, and there's so many positives we could take out of this
now you're
game.
jumping and putting words in his mouth. He said nothing about any of that.
But I know that's the road we're going.
Yeah, but that's not what he said. But you're just assuming. All he said was the culture is clearly better than it was then, and you had to jump in and say, "I don't give a fuck about the culture."
No, I don't. I give a fuck about wins and losses. I give a fuck about making the playoffs.
He didn't ask you.
This is the road we're going to travel down. You knew this road was coming. This was a fucking exit we were getting off of at some point tonight, and here we are.
All right.
Well,
somebody came with an agenda.
Well, with
somebody clearly came with an agenda. Some guy from a '90s hip hop band obviously showed up with an agenda tonight.
Fuck you. Fucking jealous everywhere.
First of all, before we go any further, can we address the fact that Joe looks like he's in a '90s hip hop band? Are you guys just going to act like it's normal? Did anyone see his Instagram post about how his wife makes him not look ridiculous?
I saw it.
He posted a picture.
It's not out of character, so it doesn't.
He posted a picture of him looking like that.
Yes,
I'm going to send Curran this picture to post it.
Thanks to my wife for keeping me from looking ridiculous. And it was serious. It was not in jest.
No,
it was 100% not a satirical post.
Listen to me. I love my hair.
I'm not... Hold on, slow down.
Okay.
Let me make something clear.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it looks better than it's looked in a long time. 100%. You've looked homeless for quite some time now.
It took a while to get to this point.
And it looks like it's on purpose, which is a start. And I'm not saying 90s hip-hop is a bad thing. I'm just saying the fact that you think it doesn't look ridiculous is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, fair enough.
Who else did you see today that looked like that?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I know.
Again, that's cool.
I know it's ridiculous, which I guess I worded the post wrong.
It's cool.
I worded it's not cool. I know you don't feel that way. So.
No, I do. Like, I'm more conservative than you. I don't have the same views as you. We're different.
Right, yeah.
It's cool for you. Like, I get it. I would never walk out of my house looking like that.
Right.
But I'm not saying you look terrible.
I got to tell you.
You do look like a 90s hip-hop
I think
star.
you would be surprised at how many compliments I get.
I'm sure you do. And again, I'm sure you do.
I mean, maybe that.
But imagine me. I mean, you couldn't even picture it because it would be really ridiculous.
That would be truly ridiculous.
That would be ridiculous.
You with or maybe even like one of these guys. But I'd love to see Chris with this.
I mean, the fact that they just act like it's not ridiculous proves that it belongs on you.
Like,
honestly didn't get a good look at him. It's dark in here now.
turn the light on.
I don't think you need to get a good look at him. I mean, Jesus Christ.
But hasn't he been doing? You've been doing the whole.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while.
3 weeks.
Yeah, this is a little further, I think.
I think
you had like a little
your
braid on
your
top.
edges.
No,
like,
yesterday,
flare out
last
now.
week I had 2.
Okay.
And then this week I have 3.
What's next week? 4?
49.
I've done 49. I've done 4. 4 is very cornrow-esque.
He's going 7 for Kaepernick next week.
No.
Storm's coming.
I would have to like grow my hair down. But no, listen. I know it's not for everybody, and I am currently really enjoying my hair.
Good.
For the first time in a long time.
That's good.
It's always nice when people enjoy their hair.
It's not like I had the same haircut for 30 fucking years. You know what I mean? Like, Rob can attest to that. I either looked homeless or I had a really nice haircut for 30 years. You know what I mean? So it was one of those two things. So this is a whole new thing for me. And Baby gets to touch my hair, every few days. It's nice. It's really brought us close together.
Okay, well, with what's left of our roster at this point in the season, we managed to play a pretty decent game. The final score ended up being 33-30. Obviously lost in the final minute of the game there. And I could start with the offense, if anybody...
Before we go to either offense or defense,
Yeah, I want to
think
say something, too.
as a team, this is the closest we've seen to our team, everyone on the field, minus obviously Jimmy and Jarek McKinnon. But certainly since Jimmy G left, this is the closest we've seen to a full roster on
With
the field.
Marquise Goodwin back, absolutely.
Right. I mean, Trent Taylor's still out.
Yep.
Dante Pettis is still out. So we're running with a further down the line wide receivers, but at least our number one is back. I think, and also our defense seems to be more healthy than it's been.
Yes.
Witherspoon.
Witherspoon not playing was not due to an injury. That was him getting benched.
Yeah, he just didn't get the start.
One thing I have to say is it's going to be very hard to ever win a football game. I win every game, at least, on the first play of the game, you give up, if not a touchdown, a 50-plus yard play. First play of every offensive set for the other team.
Back-to-back weeks.
Right? I mean, it is debilitating.
It was the same player both weeks.
It is debilitating. Who, Sherman?
No. Adrian Colbert. All right, offense. Off the top, 401 total yards, 227 passing, 174 rushing. We managed to go 2 of 9 on third downs. We averaged 5.8 yards per carry as a team, and we had 2 turnovers and only allowed 2 sacks and 4 quarterback hits, which is really amazing for a CJ Beathard game when he's not known for getting the ball out quickly.
One thing I want to say about him is you didn't see, at least in the first half, very many passes to the running backs.
No. The
No, when you look at the
plan-
stat sheet, you can see that.
Yeah, and definitely in the first half.
And tight ends, too.
Yeah. It was very
was
much
all wide
like,
receivers.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. So I was going to say it during the game, but I didn't, you know.
A healthy Marquise Goodwin is a very different player than a dinged-up Marquise Goodwin. And, I mean, the common comparison that a lot of analysts like to say is, like, some wide receivers are like tanks, and some wide receivers are like sports cars, whereas a tank can suffer a ding here and there and get along just fine, whereas a sports car, if one little thing's a little bit off, then it's just not even close to what it could be. And Marquise Goodwin definitely falls in the category of being a sports car, whereas if he's not 100% or close to it, he's not even remotely close to the same player he could be. And I think that this game was very evident of that.
Yeah, he had a nice game. I mean,
the opening drive was a work of art. I mean, even better than last week, because last week was a lot of like dump offs and screens and gimmicky shit. That
But this was an offensive drive.
This was an offensive drive, and it was a little bit of everything. Capped off with a Breda touchdown. The second drive, it started out very promising, but again, the theme was CJ batted down ball on third down kills it. You don't even get.
He doesn't have different arm angles, so
Yeah.
it's easier for them to bat ball. And that's what it seems like to me. Every ball comes out the same, so it's easier for them to bat it down.
The big throw to Marquise, I mean, that was, I would say, CJ's best throw as a pro, because not only was it perfectly thrown as far as distance, he hit him in stride and led him away from the 2 defenders that were in the area. If he had led him further upfield, then it probably would have been contested a lot more. But he found the open space for Goodwin to go and get it, and I think that one play was what we've all been waiting for all year long.
I've been waiting for victories.
I think he's better at throwing that ball than Garoppolo, too.
Possible.
I think he's better at hitting those spots. I don't think he makes as good of decisions as Garoppolo. I think we've seen that, obviously, in the turnover category. But I think he makes, like, if they were to stand side by side and you were to put a garbage can out at 70 yards, I'm obviously exaggerating, but at 45 yards, I feel like Beathard gets that ball way closer and in that garbage can many more times.
And that's not a surprise, thinking about our conversations this offseason, revisiting what Jimmy did in the 5 games, talking about what his possible weaknesses were. And it was universally agreed upon that the one thing that might be a weakness for Garoppolo, or something that we haven't seen enough of yet, was his deep ball. And that kind of bared out in the first, 2.5 games that we did see, is that he didn't really connect on a lot of the deep balls that we think he could. CJ throws a perfect 20-yard strike to Kyle Juszczyk, who fumbles. That was fucking killer.
Way out of character, especially for a fullback. If anyone on the field should not fumble a football, it's a fullback. Like, you're the tank on the team. You're the guy. That was brutal.
And I'll just skip right to the special teams. The fumble right off the bat. They score a touchdown, kick off to us. DJ Reed, the fumble. And then on the next drive, just like back-to-back turnovers in the first quarter. I mean, that just completely changes the game.
What we got 3-0 on the turnovers this week?
Yep.
Yeah, because the fumble that they had was a bullshit call on us.
Yep.
Yeah, we got fucked on that one.
The interception, you mean?
No, they fumbled.
Oh.
They fumbled and they said that it was down by it was forward progress had stopped, but nobody ever blew the whistle. They just decided that forward progress had stopped because he went backwards and fumbled.
And that interception hit the ground. Like I don't know how that flew.
Yeah, that was borderline. It should have at least been looked at.
Yeah,
and it was in it wasn't challengeable because of the time. Like it would have had to come from the booth.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
It should have been.
We should have called a timeout so
Yeah.
that they would challenge it. Probably.
I don't know. Well, we'll get to that fourth quarter.
Biggest surprise of this game for me was Raheem Mostert
Crushed
playing all of Alfred Morris's snaps. Alfred Morris, I think, played one snap.
I think it was. We've always heard Shanahan's a guy that goes with the hot hand.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, Mostert was ripping off 10-yard runs, and I think it was like, we're not going away from that.
In his presser today, he said that during the week they weren't sure if they were going to have Breda, so Mostert got a lot of practice leading up to this game, and they said that what they saw from him in practice was really encouraging.
Looked like a guy that fumbled last week on his one carry and was out to prove something.
Yeah, and because he looked so good in practice this week, possibly expecting Matt Breda not to play, that they just went with him, and he got hot and he kept going back to him. So I mean, like I said, Alfred Morris played one snap, I believe. And got one carry.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like, it's not like he got hurt or anything. He didn't get his first carry until I think like the second quarter. Then we can talk about the second Goodwin touchdown. He goes to run a post, cuts on a dime and runs a post corner, leaving his man like 10 yards away from him. CJ finds him wide open, and there's plenty enough space for him to find the end zone. And if the first bomb to Goodwin didn't tell you that he's definitely healthier than he was the first 5 weeks, then this play should have hit. The cut that he made on that route and the ability to just freeze the defender and completely lose sight of him. I mean, Marquise Goodwin's 1,000-yard receiver in a good offense with a good quarterback.
For sure.
And what we saw last year was not a fluke. That was Marquise Goodwin last year. And he needs to be 100%.
Yeah, for sure. That's always been the knock on him, is staying healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He had
We've had him healthier than Buffalo did.
He had one big drop, right?
Marquise?
Yeah.
No.
He did have a drop. I don't know how big it was.
Yeah.
He had 5 targets and 4 receptions.
I don't know why I thought it was
But I don't
big,
know.
but
I have no idea. I don't remember it. I just remember seeing
somebody
5
talked
targets.
to me about it, so that's the only reason that I remember it, but I don't. Yeah. Okay. No. Shit happens.
CJ had a pretty signature run on a 3rd and 9 before the halftime.
Ugh. Those 2 9-yard runs.
It's one of those things where it's like, man, I don't want to see CJ get hurt because I don't feel like seeing another fucking quarterback play for us. But God, that run, I don't know, in the moment you just love it.
He's still got to stop diving head first.
Yeah, like do you see when
Like
Aaron
you're there,
Rodgers,
you're
like,
at the line.
yeah.
Fucking slide.
Slide
What are
over
you
the
doing?
line. Like what the fuck? It's the
There's
same
some
thing.
quarterbacks that just can't slide. Steve Young was one of those quarterbacks. Steve Young went head first his whole career, and then his coach made him slide, and on one of his slides, he got injured, and he says, I'm never sliding again, ever. I'm always going head first. So I don't, he just might be one of those kind of guys.
It's ballsy.
Let's see, what do we got here?
Can we talk about the absolute worst clock management ever in the fourth quarter?
We could get to that, but first
But
I'd
before
like
we get
to
to
talk.
that, can I talk about something about him diving that I brought up previously?
Sure.
So this is from August 4th. Okay? This is from the NFL. A quarterback does not have to slide feet first to be considered to be giving himself up. Regardless whether the slide is feet first or head first, as long as he gives himself up, he should receive the protections afforded to him as a player in a defenseless posture. So how has nobody been flagged for smashing him when he's diving?
It's a good question.
I don't fucking understand it.
He did. He got fucking demolished.
Every time. And he's left his feet, and they're still coming in. And I haven't seen one flag in the entire NFL for it.
Me neither.
But that was a rule change this year.
Yeah.
I don't fucking understand.
But they also haven't. They've only called like that. You know, thought they were gonna emphasize that helmet rule or whatever. They've only fucking called it like twice.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Bring it up. Later
Like
on,
how?
get it ready.
How the fuck? That's the rule, and it says it's a big change.
Yeah, no, not one fucking call on it.
Um,
And he gets fucking demolished when like he took some hits there.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't understand it.
So there's one drive where we are literally running the ball down their throats the whole field, not a single pass play. We get all the way down to their 25-yard line. We get into a 3rd and 5 situation, and I don't know if you guys recall CJ missing Kittle too high when he's wide open at the sticks.
Yeah,
That was big. That was like 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I think if we got that, that would have definitely put us in position to score another touchdown there, but ended up we had to settle for a field goal. After the defense forces a turnover on downs with the 4th and goal, we end up at our own 1-yard line, and we end up only gaining 9 yards. We had to punt there. That sucked.
I think that's why they go for it on 4th down there.
Yeah, because
you're going to pin us at the 1.
Yeah.
And because we have the lead, they know we're probably going to play it a little bit conservative. You're not going to come out throwing out of the end zone. I think that's the whole point there.
Like to have a 7-point lead, 3 timeouts, and the ball with under 4 minutes left,
Mm-hmm. Twice.
and to not win that game is Steve.
We're getting there. On the next drive where we ended up going 3 and out, CJ's forced to take a sack on 3rd and 11 late in the fourth quarter, and I looked at all of his options on that play. There were no underneath routes whatsoever. Every single route that was ran by a wide receiver was beyond the first down marker, and guess what? Nobody gets open quick enough for that to be a successful play, and he ends up taking a sack.
It's a successful play because he took a sack. Because 2 weeks ago he throws a pick there.
Well, baby steps.
Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, with a lead, that's what you want him to do.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, of course, you want a wide receiver to get open.
Yeah.
But looking at CJ, what he did on that play, he did the right thing.
Yes.
100%.
Taking a sack is better than throwing an
100%.
interception, obviously. Then we get to the final drive where we get the ball at
Where we didn't take a sack.
at the 50-yard line following a kickoff return, a good return by Richie James that tacked on an additional 15
Yeah, game
yards
over.
on a penalty.
Game over.
We get the ball
Midfield.
at the 50, and
In fact, everyone in my house was sleeping. I may have jumped off the couch, clapped once, and yelled something.
Yeah.
It may have happened.
yes.
Yeah, I texted Duffy at that point, who was in a meeting, and I was like, yo, I think we got this thing locked up. Here's the deal, 50-yard line, all we got to do.
So 2nd and 3 at the 45, Green Bay has no timeouts left.
None.
We throw it.
Yeah.
It gets batted down on 2nd and 3. I call it hindsight, call it what you want. I don't agree with that whatsoever. We have been running it down their throats all night long. And on a 2nd and 3 with a minute and a half left and you're just outside of field goal range, you don't go for a run on 2nd down, that's not good. Because even if you come up short, then you got 3rd down to figure it out.
And
3rd down comes.
And 4th.
We throw again, but this time CJ picks literally the worst guy to throw at. He had other options on that play, and he throws the ball to Marquise Goodwin inside against the defender that already had inside leverage. If he wanted any chance on that being successful whatsoever, it should have been an outside throw, lead him to the outside. Ends up being an interception, and that play took, 3 seconds off of the clock because the play's dead. At least if you ran it there, you could run the clock out before you attempt a really long field goal or you attempt a punt. That was Shanahan's poor clock management right there.
That's Super Bowl Shanahan right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty, I know you're excited about the small improvements you see, but I continually to see the same, the same thing. 3-point losses, not getting over the hump. This was a game that you had won. There's no excuse to lose this game. None. This game was gift wrapped for you on a national stage, and you just piss it away.
Well, it's hard to say it was gift wrapped. I mean, the
Well,
guy's
you earned the
definitely-
victory. You earned it. You had it. It was in your crosshairs. It was at that point in the fourth quarter with 3 timeouts and that time left, a 50-yard line, the whole deal. That's a gift wrapping, motherfucker.
I think you're misunderstanding. I think he means like at the time.
Yes.
Here's your victory.
Yeah, like,
Here it is.
Yeah.
He didn't mean like the whole day was gift wrapping.
No,
They earned
the victory
to that point, and then at that point, here it is.
Yeah, like
just
it doesn't
don't
get
fucking
any
drop
easier
it.
than this,
Yeah.
man. Like you don't even really have that big of an uphill battle. Like
Yeah.
20 yards. Come on.
Worst case scenario, that should have went to overtime. Worst case.
Yeah, that's why I felt great about it, because at that point I go, well, at least over very, very worst case, we're in overtime. Very worst case. No way. I didn't even think about a loss. It didn't even cross my mind. And then they come out running on first down on their drive, and I go, oh, yeah, definitely. And then, wait, why aren't we tackling him?
Yep.
Oh, great. He got some yards.
Yep.
Now they're going to keep going.
15-yard
Yeah,
run.
they were going to run the clock out and go to overtime. They were completely content. That fucking team was completely content going to overtime with us. Because Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback. Of course you're content going.
I would be too.
You've been losing the whole second half. You got your ass kicked, and you're ready to go to overtime. And we let them fucking run the fucking ball down. I mean, come on.
A 15-yard run definitely changed their mind.
I mean, what the fuck? And if you didn't see that coming, like, why isn't everyone on the line to stop the run? Assuming that's what they're going to do.
So, segue to the other side of the ball. Defense off the top, 521 yards allowed, 4 of 13 third downs allowed, 26 total first downs allowed, 3 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, 0 turnovers. Now, I didn't look into the data after this game, but going into this game, we entered this game with 3 takeaways in the league. After 5 games, that is the lowest a defense has ever had through the first 5 games since 1977.
Awesome. Sure, watching that football game was fun. But you know what's even more entertaining?
I was going to say, you know
what makes it more entertaining?
You having a little scratch on the game, right?
Certainly.
You know what? So whether you're an expert or a rookie, you should be throwing that scratch on the games at mybookie.ag.
Chris has got this down, by the way, because he timed that. That
Yes,
was all Chris.
I forget. All right.
I was hoping you didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Like, visually, I was, like, waiting for an open. I didn't want to cut you off. But as soon as you stopped, it was coming. And I was like, don't look. Don't look.
If you're the kind of guy that likes to bet a little and win a lot, like playing numbers on roulette, you can create a big parlay. Pick 3 teams to win, and if you hit all 3, you could turn $100 into $600.
Does that mean you could turn 1,000 into 6,000?
I think that's what it
Or
means.
$1 million into 6 million?
If they
But
let
there's
you
just
bet $1 million.
so much to bet on. Playoff baseball, hockey, primetime fights, and more. But my bookie is the one bet I know you will be happy with no matter what sporting event you're gambling on.
Joe, you recommend these guys?
I recommend these guys. Joe does not. I do.
That's right.
Because I really trust them.
That's right.
Joe might not, but I do. I definitely trust
I
my
have
bookie.
trust issues.
Why do
They-
you trust them?
We know why I don't trust them.
I trust them because they've been in the business. He doesn't even trust Kyle Shanahan. You expect him to trust my bookie? I mean, my bookie's been in the business for years. They've got great online reviews. Their mobile site's super easy to use.
If you're on the sidelines, now's the time to get into the game because, and by right now, I mean right now because
Right
they
now,
pull
stop.
shit
Put
all
pause.
the time.
Hit pause. Go and sign up.
My bookie will still match your first deposit dollar for dollar, but you got to join right now because they will be pulling that offer.
Join right now so that you can have a bet in for tomorrow's game. Right, Joe?
Yeah, well, your guys are probably listening to this on Thursday, or maybe even Friday. So, yes, stop what you're doing. Pause my shitty voice. Put as much we did already. Put as much money as you feel like turning into millions. Get it in there.
Whatever
now.
you want 6 of.
Yeah, just get it.
Put one
in
of.
early
But how do you get your deposit matched?
with the promo code Gold Blood.
All your deposits? No, just your first, right?
Just your first deposit.
But they'll match that.
So you
bitch
better
up to
make it a big
100%.
Gold blood, one word.
That's right.
You play?
You win.
You get paid.
All right, so
Sorry, Steve. Nobody listened to any of that whole ramble because I was
I don't even
dying
remember what
to
my ramble was.
It was a bunch of good information, I'm sure.
I asked Chris earlier. Chris, you got snap counts for defensive line?
D-line?
As you pull that up, okay. This is for. All right, let's see. DeForest Buckner, 92% of the defensive snaps.
He had a sack, right?
Yep, that's par for the course. Buckner is in the game all the time.
Taylor and Jones were 0 because they were inactive.
Yes.
FY.
Cassius Marsh played second most. Or no, is that accurate? Nope. Sheldon Day played second most, 63% of the snaps. Cassius Marsh played 61%, and Ronald Blair played 59%. What names haven't I gotten to yet?
Solomon Thomas.
And
Eric Armstead.
Eric Armstead, our 2 former first-round picks. Solomon Thomas, only 37% of the defensive snaps, and Eric Armstead, 44% of the defensive snaps. Those are 2 first-round picks that aren't even playing half of our defensive snaps.
I can't put weight on the Armstead one because this regime didn't draft him. That doesn't hurt me as much. That doesn't burn me as much. The Solomon Thomas 3rd overall, that one hurts.
Yep.
And I've heard from multiple different, I don't know X's and O's. I'm not an X's and O's. I don't know any of that shit. 3-4, 4-3. But I've heard from multiple different people that the defense we play is not the defense made for him. I've heard that from Greg Cassell. I've heard that from defensive linemen that used to play. They're all saying that he's an outside linebacker in a 3-4, and we play a 4. What do we play?
We play a 4-3.
Yeah, that he should be an outside linebacker in a 3-4. That's what I don't know what the fuck that means, but I know what a 3-4 and a 4-3 is. But
teams can't lie. When they could tell you all they want at the podium about how much they love Solomon Thomas, but they cannot lie by how much they use their own players. What they're telling us what they think about Solomon Thomas right now.
Yeah.
On how much he's getting used. 37% of the snaps. This is number 3 overall pick, and it is looking like...
We all know from watching that game, too. Like, when I look down that list of players, like, I don't see DeForest Buckner as much, but I know he's doing it.
Yeah.
I know they're probably double-teaming him, and that's why I'm seeing the other guys. But I saw Sheldon Day. I saw Cassius Marsh, and I saw Ronald
Blair. Everywhere.
All 3 of them. Yeah. I saw them doing stuff. Like, in fact, half the time I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like, some weird hair or something. I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck that is. And then I started, obviously I know Cassius Marsh because he's all tatted up. But
sick ink, bro.
Yeah, very sick. And he's also white on the defensive line.
Weird.
Very easy to pick out.
Yeah.
So I can tell just from watching as a fan and not knowing anything that those guys are doing stuff. Like, there's shit happening with them. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe a trade is in order. Maybe somebody that does run a 3-4 wants him.
I mean, you either stick with it and see it through. Maybe he develops into the guy that you thought you were getting at number 3 overall. Or you take... What do you even get for Solomon Thomas right now? A 3rd-round pick?
A headache.
Here's the way I see it. If you drafted him 3rd overall, he's got to play more than that.
Has to. There's
so
no excuse.
What you have to do, first of all, the way the season's going, we're 1-5. It's time to find out if he's going to be here next year or not. So he needs to play more snaps, at least 60. If those other guys are playing 60%, he needs to play those snaps, and you need to see what happens. He's either going to sink or swim. And if he sinks, then you try to trade him to a team, and you try to sell them some bullshit that he's in the wrong scheme. That's how I see it. Or you just trade him. You're wasting your time with this 30% bullshit. Fucking 3rd overall. I mean, if he was a 2nd-round pick and playing that much, we'd think it was a waste.
Yeah.
But I guess the other way to say it is if he was playing a 1/3 of the snaps, but came through with 2.5 sacks and a tackle for loss, then okay, fine, you've produced. But you're not even doing that. Poppy.
They would never play him 37% if he had those numbers.
Right, I'm just saying. But if it was a situational type of deal, whatever. Oh, okay. Well, fuck it, right?
Eric Armstead has shown us time and time again that he can win his one-on-one battles. I've seen him just demolish people. But his weakness is always going to be that he's, A, too slow getting off the line. He's always the last one to get off the line. And B, he cares way too much about demolishing the guy in front of him than he does about, okay, what's next? Now go make a play. He just, instead of demolish guy, go make a play, he just demolishes guy, and then I'm going to demolish you even more.
And I don't care if he demolishes the guy. I'd rather see him push the guy off to the side.
But it's
demolish
so
a
weird
fucking quarterback
because that's something that you see him demolish people in front of him, and it's like, okay, well, you have that in you, but why can't you turn that into a play?
Right.
Instead, the play is on the other side of the field, or the play is coming right by you, and
It's
you
like
can't make a play.
It's like a misguided missile.
Yeah.
He's only taking out that guy.
Yep.
The whole point of you taking out that guy is to get who has the ball.
Yes.
We don't give a fuck about that guy. There's no points for that.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of a player that shined last year and this year has been probably the worst player on our entire defense is safety Adrian Colbert. I mean, this is back-to-back weeks on the first play of the game. It's just complete busted coverage by I don't know if it was Ward or Colbert on that first play of the game, but they just leave a wide receiver wide open for a 60-yard gain.
So what do you think happens next week, first play against us?
I don't even want to know.
Somebody's taking a deep shot. I can promise you that.
The very next play.
I'm saying Gurley takes one up the middle for 90 yards.
Switch it up.
The very next
they'll
play.
give up a huge run.
We give up a 17-yard run in the red zone, and I'm watching Adrian Colbert take the worst angle on the running back ever. He just completely whiffs on him. It doesn't even look like he's trying, and it ended up being that Foster ended up saving a touchdown, which he had no business being over there. Like Foster, he had already run by Foster. That's Adrian Colbert's tackle, and he just completely let him go by. I don't know. Number 3, Devontae Parker, touchdown in the first quarter. Once again, a poor read by Colbert, and he did not defend the middle of the field at all. Instead, he was favoring coverage to Sherman, who needs no help.
Devontae Parker?
Or did I that's a miss by Devontae Adams.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
like, well, I don't know enough. I was like, are there 2 Devontae wide receivers on
No,
this team?
that-
I was like, what the fuck?
I
You
meant
were the one
Devontae
that
Adams.
said-
My next question was going to be, isn't Devontae Adams, isn't that his name?
Yes,
Because I wasn't
Devontae
even
Adams.
positive of that. That's how fucking shot I am. And I was like, is there 2 fucking Devontaes? Yeah,
Well, there is
brutal.
Devontae Parker in Miami.
Did you notice, I'm sure you did, I bet Joe maybe, late in the fourth when the game was on the line, Sherman taking over
Yes.
and shifting players
Absolutely.
around?
Yeah, they even called that on
Yeah.
But
It was great to watch, though. He was like yelling at people who they were supposed to cover,
And he
he
wanted
was
Adams,
moving.
though.
Well, he moved to the slot, which he doesn't play,
Right.
because their number 1 was in the slot,
Right, Yep. yeah,
and it
yeah.
forced them to go elsewhere. They didn't
He
throw.
caused the delay of game on Rodgers because
Yeah.
of doing that.
Yeah, and they didn't throw at Devontae Adams any of those plays,
Nope.
and they wanted to, and it was because of that move.
Yeah, Richard Sherman definitely.
If it wasn't for
paying
DeForest
dividends.
Buckner, he's the best on the defense.
Yeah,
he's
Even
worth
if it's
every
just
penny
because they're
so
not throwing at him.
yes,
You're doing your job.
Eliminating half of the
Yeah,
field.
you're doing your job.
I mean, obviously,
But to take control, like that was clearly not a call from the sideline.
No.
That was not the defensive coordinator. That was not the captain of the defense. That was Richard Sherman saying, "No, I know what's going on here. I'll get him. You get him."
after the poor start and all that bullshit, the coverage really starts to tighten up in the second quarter. So much so that there is a coverage sack that Sheldon Day gets on Aaron Rodgers. Now, we usually don't get coverage sacks. The only sacks we get are sacks because our coverage has just been horrendous. But there was a true coverage sack that Sheldon Day was able to get in the second quarter.
You hear that, Joe? Sacks from Steve.
Sack.
Sacks.
And I will say,
Not sack.
one thing that was very encouraging about this game was the defensive line showing a lot more discipline this week and not jumping. And if there's any quarterback that usually makes defensive lines jump off sides,
Yeah,
it's
for
Aaron
real.
Rodgers.
And he was trying.
He was trying, and we weren't biting.
Steve, do you ever, get upset over losses? Because I just hear you keep talking about the positives.
What are you talking about? I just bitched about Adrian Colbert for 10 minutes.
You don't seem like you're angry enough.
I don't expect to do anything this season with Jimmy Garoppolo on IR.
Yeah, see,
I don't see how you could say that though, Steve. We had this game won.
Yeah, it sucks,
and,
man.
And you should have beat the Cardinals. Fucked it. And then to
Yeah.
lose by 3 points against the Chargers, right? You're a team that's right there. It's like the 3-point losses are unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. Well, no matter who's the quarterback, CJ's proven that he can get the job done. He could. What?
Also pretty much lost that game.
He won the game. He was winning the game.
Threw an interception in the last minute of the game.
Yeah.
I just love coming here every week and listening to one person speaks Spanish and one person speaks Chinese, and thinking that someday they're both going to speak the same language.
No,
I love
know.
it.
I don't. I'm getting frustrated with it. Trust me.
The problem is that I think Steve understands that there's other ways to see it, and you don't. You don't understand that we see it differently. You don't understand that it's possible to have a different opinion.
I understand that it's possible to have a different opinion, but I just feel like you guys are
content with being mediocre forever.
No, you guys are. You're bought into that Shanahan's going to change things, and that this is a new culture here with John Lynch and this whole deal. And I am not sold on that. That these are
you
the
don't
guys
have to
that
be.
can
We
turn
understand
it
that.
around. No, I know. And
But here,
it's just,
answer this question for me: what team in the NFL goes into Green Bay with their backup quarterback and they're without their starting running back, and even fucking competes with Green Bay?
I understand.
One team.
that.
Name one team.
Rob, I don't know.
Well, to me, that's Kyle Shanahan.
Okay.
That to me, that's my opinion. I have a different opinion than you, and I understand that you base it on wins and losses, and that's okay.
That's how head
but
coaches
you
are
don't,
typically judged, right?
That's fair. That's your opinion. And my opinion is that there's no other team in the entire NFL that competes in that game with their backup quarterback and their star running back.
But, okay, at some point, C.J. Beathard is good at... I mean, he's started now more games than Garoppolo has in his career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, at some point, he's a quarterback in the NFL and not a backup. You know? He started the season as a backup, but now he's the quarterback. You know, he's the starting quarterback of the San
He's the backup quarterback.
No, he's the starting quarterback right now.
Correct. But he's
Right.
the backup because the starter is out. He's
wa-
playing because the starting quarter.
Right.
If Jimmy Garoppolo didn't get hurt, is CJ Beathard playing?
Well, if he goes 0-7, Garoppolo, or 1-6,
no way. Not a chance.
Okay.
No chance.
Okay.
There's
0%.
no way.
Then I don't know what the fuck we're doing.
I was thinking
I just
about
don't
this.
know what we're
I mean,
doing.
Well, we can't just. The problem is, in the perfect world, the organization goes, well, we lost this. We're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. We're going to practice for the rest of the year, and we'll see you guys next year. But that's not how it works in reality.
can't admit
You have
to
to
that.
come and play the games. You have to go and try to win, and they're clearly trying to win.
Yes.
I mean, we didn't just say let's get number one draft pick,
Right.
But it's not going to be pretty.
I mean, as far as
It's
being
more than I expected.
proven and unproven. I mean, I remember Fuckboy.
Right.
You
can go back 100
Was
years.
Jim Harbaugh an offensive or defensive head coach?
Offensive.
Then why was Fuckboy getting yelled at by us all the time and our Harbaugh? Yeah, that offense was his baby, and it didn't go.
Yep.
It was all Fuckboy. But
He got the name Fuckboy.
yes, I mean, this defense is not Kyle Shanahan's defense, but you can't. I don't know.
But again, we see that differently as well too, because he's the head coach. He's responsible for the product on the field.
Okay, but then why was it all Fuckboy, and not Harbaugh when that offense wasn't going?
I mean, I'm sure if you listen back, at some point we said at some point Harbaugh's going to either have to take control or fire somebody. I'm sure we made that statement. I don't know what we said 5
I don't know.
years
We were
ago.
all pretty big Harbaugh honkers.
Because he got it done.
Well, here's the thing.
He proved it to you early with wins.
Here's the thing.
By doing his job.
Here's the thing. When the team is winning,
Yeah.
the optimists and the pessimists are all on the same team because you're winning. So even the negatives aren't as negative.
Yep.
Because no matter how bad it is, so if that first play goes the way it does, and then the next drive we score a touchdown and we're back in the lead, we forget that play because we're in the lead. And then if we win the game, we forget. We don't even talk about
Yeah.
it.
Oh, no,
Who gives
I
a
was
fuck?
talking about that anyway, because that fucking burned my ass, that play.
Of
Regardless,
course.
I hear you, though.
But
But yeah,
we're-
I get what you're saying.
You're a different breed, I think we can all agree.
No, but that play...
But
hold on.
of
if
course,
we can't-
because it was 2 in a row.
Right,
of
yeah,
course.
no doubt,
But
okay.
take that game on its own. If we blow them out after that, we don't give a fuck about that play.
No.
We don't come in here and go, wow, we fucking smoked Green Bay, but that fucking defensive play, what the fuck is going on with that? It's just not happening. We're in here fucking throwing shit and calling the rest of the league a bunch of pussies if we blow them out.
Well,
so
let's pose this question.
I'm an eternal optimist.
Let's pose this question. You meet 10 Green Bay Packer fans.
Okay.
In the real world right now. All knowledgeable, really aware of what's going on right now. Knowledgeable fans. And you ask them, hey, I'll trade you Kyle Shanahan for Mike McCarthy. What do you think they say?
I think
How
you could
many
say
of
that,
them say, let's fucking do it?
I think you could say that for 75% of the league.
I agree.
I think there's probably 5 head coaches that nobody says that. Belichick,
Obviously.
McVay right now.
Yes.
Who knows what the long term is going to be, but right now you wouldn't trade a guy that's
No.
smoking the fucking league.
You give Kyle Shanahan the Rams roster.
Right.
I want to see what happens.
Again, for whatever it's worth, and I know you're going to say it is because I'm a negative pessimist, however you want to say it, but again, the faith into Kyle Shanahan, he hasn't really proven to be a head coach. So you guys could say you wouldn't trade him for anybody, but again, I know the other options out there aren't, again, I don't know what the other options are. It's not my fucking forte. But I just know that him as a head coach, he may not be a quality head coach.
Okay.
And you're right, he may not be.
So
In 10 years, the only way to know that is to fast forward 10 years. Realistically. I mean, they're also...
Another 2 years like this, he's not going to be a head coach anymore. Let's be for real.
Not 100% wrong. If he has 2 more years like this, he will have a head coaching job somewhere.
Yes.
So if
100%.
If in 4 years he is 20 and 80 or whatever he would be, that's not...
That's not good at all, but he
No.
would have a job somewhere.
I think
Because the way he writes plays.
I mean, there's
he may be back to being an offensive coordinator. You don't know.
Somebody would give him a job.
Yeah. Well, there's just a massive disconnect between the kind of fan that is and then the kind of fan. I believe that there's behind every record, season-ending record, there's a story behind that record. And a 5-11 team versus another 5-11 team could be very different. Very different stories.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what I go off of. I mean, I know it's wins and losses are the bottom line, but not all wins are equal and not all losses are equal in my mind.
Well, and to me, so some people may look at Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and go, look at the difference. Both guys in their second year, one team is 1-5 and one is 6-0. Easy comparison. 6-0 and 1-5. That's black and white. The one's undefeated and one has won one game. Easy choice. But to me, when I look at the Rams, I look at the fact that Sean McVay took a team that douchebag couldn't win fucking 500, couldn't be 500 with, and made them a playoff team the next year. And that's where I see how good McVay is. I don't see McVay as good because he's 6-0, because he's better than Kyle Shanahan. I see the fact that he took a roster that Fisher couldn't win with, and he took him to the playoffs the next year with very minimal changes to the roster. And when Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch took over, they overhauled the entire roster. This team is a second-year team.
With a lot of injuries to go along with it.
But they had to start from scratch 2 years in. I mean, everywhere you look at our
They
offensive...
didn't have to. They chose to.
No, they had to.
Okay.
I mean, we could have ran with guys that couldn't play if you thought that would be better.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we
They didn't have, there were guys that could play. They didn't have to wipe everybody off the list, but they did, and that's fine. This is where we are at.
I mean,
Okay.
The
So
only
anyway-
one that I recall that was a point of contention for me was Jeremy Curley, and now he barely is playing anywhere.
Yeah,
so that
I don't understand that. But if I look at the list of players on our offensive and defensive Beast of the Week category weekly, it's 2-year players.
Yes.
Like, consistently. I mean, somebody will sneak in. DeForest Buckner was obviously a great pick.
yeah.
No matter who picked him. But when I look up and down, that's what I see. I see guys that have been here 2 years and are developing.
What are we doing? Blame game here?
I mean, just look at Matt Breida.
Undrafted free agent.
Undrafted free agent. I mean, where's the credit on that?
Yeah.
Where's the fucking credit on that?
Yeah, he's a good player. Great. I mean,
Good? He's good?
He's injured a lot this year, right? He's missed some time. He's a good player. Yeah, he's not.
Trade him for Carlos
I
Hyde?
don't want to trade him for anybody. I like Carlos. I'm biased to Carlos Hyde.
You'd rather Carlos Hyde than Matt Breida.
No.
That's my point. He's an undrafted free agent.
No, I
Where's the
understand
credit on that?
Yeah.
0. We didn't win. Doesn't matter. We didn't win. Dog shit.
Well, just stand by, right? Let's just say Kyle Shanahan's contract is up in 5 years. And at the end of the year, at the end of those 5 years, he's made the playoffs once with Garoppolo. I'd say Garoppolo, he can't ever develop him to be the guy that we all think he is right now. And in 5 years, they're going to say, you know what, Shans, we're going to go our own separate ways. You know, it's just this whole thing didn't pan out the way we hoped it would, right? So Shanahan's not the guy we thought he was. What the fuck does Matt Brady even matter then? You know what I mean? Like, if he can't get the job done, if they can't
100%.
get the job done as
I
a
agree.
whole,
I agree.
Then giving these guys credit now, like, hey, great job on finding an undrafted free agent running back. Like, cool, I guess, but when you're competing in NFL games and you're winning in the fourth quarter and you don't get that done, that, I don't know. I have a tough time giving anybody credit for anything at that point. Maybe that's me being a fucking cocksucker, probably, but I'm just having a tough time when you just continually lose games by 3 points. This is how many games now in his tenure has he lost by 3 points, you know?
And that's totally fair.
And I think the great coaches win those games.
And if we don't end up doing anything, if we don't end up making a Super Bowl or being a competitive team under Kyle Shanahan, we can all look back and say it was a failure, for sure. But unfortunately, I can't go to that place right now to see that. So I can only go on what I do see.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that that's going to be the case, but I'm also not
for sure.
Like,
no,
fucking A.
I couldn't agree more.
You know?
I couldn't agree more that you're not saying that. But I'm just saying we can't fast forward. So I like to look at the positives. I like to watch football on Sunday. If I felt the way you felt, I wouldn't turn on my
it's
TV.
Hard, like, because
why would I do that?
It's
terrible.
It's hard for me right now to watch this. I got to be honest with you. Like as nice, as fun as that game was, the fact that this was the outcome, like, if that doesn't make you want to fucking slit your wrists, and I don't know, are you even rooting for the team? You know what I mean? Like, I have a
See, this is where I have a problem. You judge everyone else for the way they see the team.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
You just said, are you even rooting for the team? That's what you said.
If you're not extremely bothered by 3-point losses every week, like...
how do you know how bothered we are? You're assuming. You're judging how bothered I am.
I really haven't heard anybody bothered.
It's Wednesday.
Right.
I've had 48 hours to process what happened.
Okay.
I stayed up till 2 in the morning because I couldn't sleep because the fucking team blew a lead in the fucking fourth quarter, and I was pacing around my fucking house trying not to fucking shoot myself in the fucking head. But it's 48 hours later. I'm an adult. I've moved on. They're fucking 20-year-old kids in California that don't give a fuck about me.
No, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking you to be sad about it, but I'm asking you to be like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, not.
But I don't feel that way. That's what the point.
Well, then
I wanted to fucking kill myself when they lost that game. I care. I root for this team.
I'm
I
not
fucking
saying
bleed
you don't
red.
care.
I didn't. Let me finish.
Okay.
But it's 48 hours later, and I look at facts. I look at stats. I look at where we are. I understand where this team is in that it doesn't have its starters. It doesn't have, and also to go one step further, if Aaron Rodgers isn't injured and their fucking number 2 and 3 wide receiver aren't injured, they'd probably blow us the fuck out and we don't even have a chance. I mean, that guy can't even fucking hardly run. He's got a gigantic knee brace on. He's playing through clearly injured, but they don't have a better option. So I look at it differently, that's all. And what frustrates me is that you don't understand how we could possibly see it differently.
My apologies on not being as open to that as possible. I guess I just feel like I'm the only one. I feel very alone in this situation because I'm extremely frustrated with this is 5 seasons in a row now we're not going to make it to the playoffs. You know what I mean? And I understand there's injuries and I understand that shit happens in the NFL, but I see the situation being more dire than it actually is, and I feel completely alone. And if I thought if anywhere people would understand me, it would be here. But I am alone everywhere I go.
No, I don't think you're alone. There are emailers that agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely other people that feel the same way.
Yeah.
It just happens to be that the other 2 people you do a podcast with see it differently.
I guess so.
That's all. I mean, we should probably get to the prediction game.
Well, I want to know whose fault this game was.
Well, first we got to get to the predictions.
No.
Before we get to the blame game.
Okay.
Steve clearly won the predictions.
Oh, I thought you meant maybe.
Okay.
No, that's next episode.
That's something I'm not proud of.
We'll turn the page
I don't know.
onto the Rams.
Maybe Wendy Curran was closer.
The blame game. Whose fault was this loss?
You tell me, Steve.
This is a tough one. This is a real tough one.
It's hard because I saw so many good things from the offense in this game, but the clock management at the end was really the nail in the coffin for me. So I'm putting this one on Shanahan. The back-to-back pass attempts at the 45-yard line with a minute left in the game. Not only did you not kill any clock whatsoever, but you end up throwing an interception, which gives Aaron Rodgers the ball back with a whole minute left to work.
It's fair. This one's tough for me because you could say that, obviously. You could say throwing that interception. That was 100% a nail in the coffin.
Kyle Shanahan did not want CJ to throw that ball.
Yeah,
I'll
not
tell you that
stopping
every day.
that first rush on their drive.
Ugh.
Who's to blame for that? Who missed that? There's so many
not
ways
protecting
to
the
go.
boundaries, not protecting the sideline on the final drive.
Adrian Colbert giving up that touchdown at the beginning. Otherwise, we're leading huge in the beginning.
The 2 fumbles.
Yeah, there's so many places to go.
Not getting any turnovers on the defense whatsoever.
And
not one. This is back-to-back weeks. We have no turnovers.
Because of the wide list, I'm going to have to agree that it goes on Shanahan.
You know I feel that way. That's on him.
So, before we move on, can we revisit last week's blame game?
Sure.
You may recall that I blamed Joe.
Yes.
Last week for his jersey curse, right? So, my sources via social media have come up with something. That first of all, the fact that Joe's thinking about buying a Dante Pettis jersey, they're pleading that Joe does not buy a Dante Pettis jersey.
Who are these people?
Just the talk of it already has him hurt. Just the thought that he might buy one, the guy's out for a couple weeks. I mean, if that caused that, if he buys one, he's probably going to die. Right? I mean, it's going to be way worse, and he's out for we don't even know how long.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, let's see. 4 games just thinking about it. So,
but they've come up with a solution. Joe needs to buy jerseys for the other teams. Let's injure the rest of the fucking league and stop injuring our team.
If people want to send me money, I'll buy whatever they want.
Maybe a Goff jersey to start. Rival quarterback in the division. I mean, the Rams lose Goff. They're fucked. Oh, even better. I didn't even think of that.
Oh, yeah.
Way better. Gurley, Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean,
this isn't going to happen.
So maybe Patreon. Maybe somebody could Patreon and Joe could buy the other team's jersey.
Sure.
But they're pleading.
He has to wear it out in public at a bar.
I'm not going to go that far because he doesn't have to. He just has to buy a Niners jersey and their legs fall off.
Yeah. Or think about it.
But imagine what would happen to Gurley if he wore it.
Now, also, my sources have said that they are prepared to supply you with all of your party needs when you get to California.
If what?
If you stop buying jerseys and injuring players, and you start buying jerseys for the other, they're ready. They're stocked.
Buy my own drugs.
Things like marijuana,
Buy my own drugs.
wax,
Buy my own drugs.
cocaine.
Talk to my wife.
But they've got the supply. Like you don't. You can just get off the plane and it's there.
I'm good. Good, man. I'm going to keep doing me.
Well,
They're trying. They're trying.
Who's your blame game?
I said
you
Shanahan.
said Shanahan.
He said Shanahan.
Joe Shanahan. All right. So, Joe, you want to give us a little number here?
What do you mean?
There's another segment that we haven't gotten to yet.
Oh, yeah. It's the Beast of the Week.
Oof. All right. Well, offense is easy for me. That's
Yeah.
Marquise Goodwin.
Yeah.
It's clearly a different offense when he's out there.
It's easy for me, but in a different way. And I'm giving it to the unit that has played well all season long, and that's the offensive line.
Okay.
They have played phenomenal.
That's fair.
All year long. And
I can't leave out Raheem for the comeback week.
yeah. But this offensive line is the best offensive line that we've seen, I think, since 2013 when we went to the NFC Championship. I mean, our offensive line has been horrendous ever since the final Harbaugh year, and then after that, and after that, and after that. It finally looks like they've invested the right pieces. Mike McGlinchey is going to be a legitimate player for us for a long time. And Mike Person at guard is not a liability.
No.
He actually has played very well.
I think Garnett should be in a package deal with fucking Solomon Thomas.
Yeah, whatever.
See you later.
I mean,
Out of here.
Chris, can you? I don't know if there's a way to pull up this stat, but yards per rush.
Yeah.
for the year,
I'm fairly certain that Matt Breida is leading the NFL.
he is
Oh, yes,
100%.
definitely. 7 yards a carry.
Yeah,
How amazing is
It's
that?
either 6.7 or 7.
It makes you wish they just give him the ball more.
I know,
It's
right?
like we used to say, remember the stat when Frank got over a certain amount of
20
carries?
touches.
We're like, why don't you just come out and give him the ball for the first 20 plays? You'll win the fucking game.
Defensive beast of the week.
6.8
That's
yards per
nuts.
carry.
And he has how many carries on the year? He's got to be in like the 200 or no, not 200s.
That's wild.
He has
6.8. I mean, you had that one big one, but it's the quantity of big
Every
ones
single
that
time
make
you
it.
see him get
Yeah, it's always like at least
63
5.
carries.
63 carries.
Yeah.
6.8.
All right.
66.
Defensive beast of the week.
I'm going to go Ronald Blair.
I was too, you motherfucker.
Yeah, this is a
We can,
sweep
we
for
can
me.
agree.
Yeah, wow, that's a sweep.
Yeah, it's a sweep. I mean,
I saw his name when it mattered more than
Yeah,
anybody.
for sure.
You know, like when the game was on the line.
Eric
he stepped up.
Armstead, Solomon Thomas. No, Ronald Blair.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Foster played a great game too. Ruben Foster. Like,
He did
I'll
go
give it
down
to
at the
him.
end. Did you catch it?
I did.
I didn't catch it.
It was
I
like
saw it.
they didn't hype it, but like
Yeah.
he went down and was like yelling, and then like they
I
panned
heard
to
him
Roger.
yelling.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah,
yes, I was
for
like,
sure,
I was
for
thinking,
sure,
they
for
went
sure.
to a timeout.
Yeah, but they never like mentioned it on
Right.
the air.
But I knew it was
he was
him because
laying
of the yelling.
and he
I
yelled.
knew it was him.
And then they went to commercial. When
Yep.
they came back, he was off the field. Like they didn't. I don't know why it wasn't on TV, but he definitely went down.
Before we end this, can somebody clear up to me the penalty that we declined on the kickoff after halftime?
No one know. I don't know what that was about.
On the
You
kickoff.
remember that, right?
Yeah, yep. And even the announcers.
We kicked off to them
Yeah.
at the beginning of this third quarter, and they committed a penalty. They committed a penalty, and we declined it.
Yeah.
Why
I
would
don't
we
know.
decline that
It
penalty?
was like a hold or something.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I don't know. Was it a re-kick if we
no,
took it? Oh,
well,
weird.
maybe it was.
Maybe it was a re-kick if we took
Yeah.
it. I will tell you that I did notice that, was it this game? When they took the delay of game on the punt, which all
On
teams in
purpose.
the NFL do, to either to draw you off sides or just to get 5 more yards, and we declined it.
declined
I don't think
it.
I've ever
That's
seen that.
awesome.
And I don't know why teams don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as we did it, I was like, that's fucking fan. And it worked perfect in this instance
Yep.
because we got the touchback when the ball bounced into the end zone. But as soon as we did it, I went, why doesn't every team do that? Oh, okay, fuck you. We decline it.
Yeah, why am I going to make it
I
easier for you?
I loved it.
So what you can do is email us at goldbloodedpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us, are you the glass half empty or half full? Go fuck yourself. Check out the Instagram or the Twitter, Gold Blooded Podcast, one word, or Gold Blooded Pod. Michael Curran doing things over there. Patreon /Gold Blooded Podcast. You could donate, help us grease the wheels here a little bit, make the machine float. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
See you next time.